Yes, the king of the wild frontier himself, the blueback hussar, Mr. Adam Ants. Looking dandy. Thank you, Adam. Thanks for coming on. Thank you. Come and sit down. I'm so excited you're on. You know, I've been trying to get you on shows over the years. I know sometimes you're away, sometimes you're busy, sometimes you just said no, sometimes you weren't well. Finally, we got you here, so thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
I think people forget just what an enormous career. At the peak, the kind of success that you had was phenomenal. I've got some figures here. 15 million records sold, 22 hits in 15 years, 8 singles in the top 40 at one time.
Yeah.
And that's back when it was hard to get into the charts.
Yes, yeah.
You had to say...
I don't know, at that time it happened all so quick, and we sort of had 3 years of, as you know, playing the punk clubs and getting no, and you know, kind of getting a lot of rejection. Then suddenly went on top of the pops, and then they released all the old stuff. So I was really heartbroken when Young Parisians went to 108, and then it went to top 10, so it eventually caught up with myself.
So, and that, at the time, people called it Ant Mania, of course. It was the kind of big thing. It was like the sort of thing that One Direction are going through now, and it was all focused on you. So what was it like being at the centre of that at the time? What do you remember of that level of mania?
It's a bit, to be honest, it's a bit of a blur, but I'd had so long of having sort of rejection, and like, you know, I was really determined to make it work. So when it happened, I just got my head down and just did every interview and just took every opportunity to make it last.
And when was it when you realised that you were, you know, as big as you were? I mean, when did it sort of dawn on you? I mean, was it when did you get recognised more, or was it just a kind of level of awareness about the music being played everywhere?
To be honest, it was actually meeting Her Majesty the Queen. I did it at a Royal Variety show. And I took all the gear off and put on a suit, and I thought, oh, you know, I'll be very formal, I'll dress very nice and tie it down. And the Queen came along and shook my hand and leaned over and said, hello, Adam, I didn't recognise you without your makeup. I thought, you know, she knows my name. But it was a real... That was kind of probably the moment I realised that it got a bit big.
Where did that come from, the look with the kind of the hussar's jacket and the white stripe?
I've always drawn on, you know, history as a real... influence on the work. I loved history at school, so you know, my home's full of various historical references, and I just really thought it was time, after the punk thing, it got a bit grey, a bit political, a bit dull, and time for colour and heroic, piracy, highwaymen, the Native American Indian culture, which had a sort of bravery about it, and it sort of just all went together and worked.
And those, I think the costumes, you've donated them to the V&A, haven't you? They're in the Victorian Albert Museum.
Yeah, they're in the V&A, and it's kind of weird. I popped in there with my daughter about 6 months ago, and she didn't realise, and then she was like, oh, wait a minute, Dad, you know. No, that's Brian Eno, love, that's me.
How old is your daughter?
She's 15.
Wow, 15?
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, the greatest achievement in my whole life is my daughter, definitely. It's wonderful.
That's so sweet. When you became a pop star and you were about as big as a pop star could be, was it what you wanted?
I think it was strange because it was kind of going from that early audience. The most upsetting thing was we had a sort of very clandestine audience of punk rockers and Mohicans and really loyal fans. And I think the most heartbreaking moment was kind of seeing that go, seeing the disappointment to some of the old fans that I really knew on a you know, name-to-name basis. They used to come to all the shows, and that was quite upsetting, seeing that the fact that I was no longer belonged to them anymore. But I had to make that conscious decision, and then I just thought, you know, TV had kind of made me overnight. It had gone right across to so many people, so I just basically thought I'm going to get on as many TV shows as I can, and so, in a way, it wasn't what I expected it to be, but it was a lot more hard work than I ever imagined it would ever be. And
so was that what kind of like... Because you'd had a history of mental problems before, hadn't you? Was that what kind of pushed you over the edge, do you think?
Yeah, bipolar disorder. I think that, with me, it was... really, I'd always taken a sort of... like examinations at school, I took them very, very seriously, like my life depended on it, which it didn't, but I imagined it did. And then I think I took on this very kind of overwork... program. Anything I did, I had to work and work, and certainly when I got an opportunity I had a hit record, I just didn't stop working. That was one element. The other elements is obviously the sort of chemical conditions, the serotonin balances in the brain, which later on, fortunately, through the help of my doctors, they explained to me why it happens, what are the trigger things that can trigger it off. But I think creative people, primarily because they have to make a living out of abstract ideas, it's not something you check in. You're sort of constantly competing with yourself. And I think that it makes you quite vulnerable to very dark thoughts. And bipolar disorder is something that really means highs and lows. And an artist does need the dark as well as the light.
But you seem to be in a really good place now creatively. You've got a new album out and it's really good stuff, and you must be pleased about performing it. And I'm going to see if we can get Adam out. He couldn't do it this evening because we've already had Hertz booked and we're very excited about that. But I'd love Adam to come back on the stage and perform live, and I think you'd like to see him perform live, wouldn't you? So we'll try and get you back on another week. I'd love that. But you seem to be, well, am I right in thinking you're kind of in a better place than you have been for quite a while?
Yeah, I think since I took a 17-year period off, during some of that time, I didn't ever imagine I'd make another record. I didn't imagine I'd ever go on stage again. Since then, I've done 130 concerts, and I've got a double album out.
Wow.
So that, you know, that's it, really.
That's happy news. Well, the album, let me remind you, I've got it here. The album's title again is Adamant is the Blueback Hussar in Marrying the Gunner's Daughter. I'm going to show you a clip of Adam performing his new single from it. This is Cool Zombie. Enjoy this. The Blueback Hussar in Marrying the Gunner's Daughter. That's Cool Zombie from the album. That's a single as well. And Adam is playing live at the Roundhouse in on May the 11th, isn't he?
Yeah, 35 years since I supported X-Ray Specs there. So
in that same building. I'm going to go and see that there. I might not wear my bondage trousers. I might spare you that, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I want to get you back on the show live. Ladies and gentlemen, will you join me in saying thank you to the fabulous Adamant? Great. Thank you. Awesome.